just about time we start the base tour. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I'm about to give a base tour. 2250 cycles. Let me take a look at something here real quick. Over on our Oxygen Not Included in Reddit. Let's see, who is the person that requested this video? Nuclea 83. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. This is for you, buddy. Alright, let's get started. So right off the bat, we'll start with the printing pod area. Obviously spawned here, and immediately what I did was set up just an arbitrary amount of tiles. I think this is 20 wide, and 2 ladder systems, so I could have ladders on both sides. I think that's really important for movement around the colony. And, it makes it so dupes don't have to go down like all the way across here and then down and then over. There are a few places where I've blocked it off now, but that's not too important. So the first thing I did was start off, just mainly building on these 2 floors, but over time I've moved things, so don't be afraid of moving stuff. I build bedrooms. I like bedrooms, but I'm not sure why. They don't really do anything additional, unless you have a snorer. That's really helpful. I always get a rec room up pretty early as well. And the first thing I was farming was meal lice in this area here on tiles. On planters. And then I actually build these 4 rows up here and farmed meal lice all up here. And that lasted me a very long time. Meal lice is great for the beginning, but it obviously, I ran out of dirt very quickly. And so that was a big lesson learned, is dirt is essentially finite. I mean, it's possible for it to be infinite because you have access to infinite polluted water. You can evaporate polluted water to get dirt, but that whole process is very slow, and it's totally not sustainable for a colony even of size 11. Which, speaking of colony sizes, I think that's a really important part if you want to survive long, is to trim your colony down. I think I chose 11 because there are 11 senior jobs here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, there are 11 trees, and I figured, I'd have one guy or girl in each tree. But you'll see why I don't have that happening right now in a few minutes. So starting off with everything, I had algae oxidizers, obviously pumping my base full of oxygen, and I tend to try to build abyssalite walls all around the base to lock in that heat, or lock in the cool. I keep the base at a very high oxygen level. I only use regular gas pipes for the most part, never high pressure because you get the ear pop issue. Over on the left here was my first upgrade. I used this cool steam vent here to make a completely self-sufficient oxygen production line. If we take a look at this wiring, you can see this is completely maintained by this one hydro generator. This design is not mine. I've found this online in numerous places. I'm not sure who initially came up with it, but I recommend looking up this design. It's the bread and butter of my colony. I think it's like you don't ever have to worry about oxygen when you do this. 2 batteries, you know, the hydrogen goes over here. When I hit 750 grams, it gets pumped into the hydrogen generator. There's enough power for that to run not only an additional liquid pump, but also the liquid filter up here. Once you have kind of like maximized your pressure, you can always run the pump, but if you're just starting out, I would not use a filter if you can. So this gas snakes through a room full of hydrogen with 4 Wheezeworts. It's going in at 76 degrees and coming out at -7. Super efficient cooling mechanism there. Air is easy to chill though, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And those are just going to 2 vents. I have the exact same setup built in a cold biome, and it's basically doing similar temperature output. It's putting out 4 degrees of temperature. But again, completely self-sufficient. This wire here is in my second cool steam vent pumping out. By the way, I'll put the seed in the description of this video if anybody's interested. So that was my oxygen production. As you can see, my food production is mainly bristle blossoms. I sustained to around 2,000 cycles just using bristle blossoms and cooking the stuffed berries. Stuffed berries are good because well, really, there's a ton of pincha pepper nuts everywhere that I left intact. I think that's a really important thing, is just leaving these pincha pepper nuts intact all over the place, setting them to auto-harvest them, setting your dupes to auto-harvest. I basically try to avoid destroying pincha pepper nuts wherever I can. Here's a great example. Like, I don't actually touch these things. Just because that quality of food is +4 and 4,000 calories. So it's pretty great. How I'm actually... so one of the biggest problems with the bristle blossom is actually cooling the water. Cooling the water down. That's the number one obstacle to overcome, I think. And if you take a look at my base, I keep things pretty chilly. I really like to keep it colder than it needs to be. But what I'm doing basically is pumping cold water into this bay here, cold enough water, and then further chilling it with this array of Wheezeworts here. And that's running up into my bristle blossoms. I'm maxing out a single pump. This pump right here is pumping through all of those bristles, and then those, and then those, and then 2 additional. I can't support any more with this one pump. I'm not sure how many that is. We'll call it like 20. I think I can only support about 20 bristle blossoms per pump. My chef's table, my chef's area, kitchen, we'll call it. I'm making omelets on one grill and stuffed berries on the other. I've got a bunch of fridges plugged in. I have heard that there's a better way of doing these fridges with a CO2 pit. I'll probably do that eventually. We'll see. Below that, or to the right, we'll go over here. 4 med bays, all with baths and sinks, and then a rock granulator over here. Just had no better place to put it, and my composting over here. All this liquid, everything that isn't for food. All the water that's not for food is coming from a single source right here. And it looks like this pipe is broken. I need to get that fixed actually. Right away. Because this is the main line of water to my base. Yeah. So I try to reuse as much water as I can in this cycle here, but for whatever reason, this actually gains water. I guess it's because the duplicants are peeing, maybe? Or expelling waste. But this actually produces more polluted water than it takes in fresh water. So, I just have a simple setup here where if this filter detects polluted water for 40 seconds, it opens up a liquid shutoff for 1 second, allowing just a little bit of polluted water out. It's a nice way to handle recirculating as much as possible and wasting as little as possible. Let me see. Oh, yes. Let's see where that water was going. Okay, we have water going everywhere. We're good. Sorry, just had to check the systems. Oh. Wait, where is this going? It's going into that? Is that right? Oh, I don't think that's right. That shouldn't be going in there. I've messed that up. I think I need to kill that. Yeah, that's a big mistake I made a long time ago. Sorry. Sorry to get off track. Just finding my own mistakes here. Anyway, this water supply in my third cool steam vent is basically supplying all my sinks and bathrooms and my one shower. Taking a look at the bedroom overlay here. When it loads, boom, med bays, lavatory. And this is my one greenhouse. Oh, and my mess halls up here. This used to be farming tiles, this whole area here. But I actually, obviously I don't need that much farming space. So I took it out. I might actually move these two right here down to where this greenhouse is as well. And open up these walls. And then basically make a different room up here. Like if I had a water cooler from the new expansion in an arcade, that's definitely where I would put it. Moving on to power production. I run everything. My entire operation is basically run on 2 circuits. And I am sustaining that pretty well. Just 2 circuits. I never really got into the fanciness of power transformers until late in the game. I will next time. I recommend getting into those earlier. Having a single set of power producers produce all you need into maybe 2 to 4 grids of power. Oh boy. This isn't looking good. Huh. Wonder what all this is from. That's not good. I think I need to make these regular tiles again. Because something... Look at all this petroleum I've leaked. Sorry, I'll get back to this. back to the power generator. I started off with coal and mouse wheels. I have 4 of these mouse wheels connected up to one side, 4 to the other. The coal is permanently off because I want to save all my coal for refined coal. And then I have 2 natural gas generators, 2 hydrogen generators, and 2 petroleum generators, all on each circuit. So one circuit has these 6, and the other circuit has these 6 right here. And there's 6 batteries on one side and 7 on the other. Just arbitrary there. I have a lot of complex automation that goes into this power management, though. It may look scary at first, but it's actually very simple logic. Basically, the hydrogen generators are turned off. They're turned on when the smart battery hits 15% and the clock is on. Except I don't want to use my hydrogen because I'm using them for my nullifiers. I'm using all this hydrogen, this excess hydrogen for my nullifiers. So I'll actually only turn that on when I have like a really high excess of hydrogen. I should automate this process where if I detect that I have a ton of hydrogen right here, turn it on and leave it on. But for now I have it just on a clock that I can control. Those turn on when it's 15%. The natural gas generators turn on when it's 15% because I have a natural gas geyser. The natural gas geyser is this big line right here. That's hydrogen. Here's the natural gas. This comes all the way down here. All the way down into this nice filter system I have that filters out natural gas and dumps it to my machines. The petroleum generators on both systems are connected to a different battery that's set for 10%. 10% because I want the petroleum to run second to the natural gas. Natural gas should be first because it's 100% renewable. Petroleum it's renewable. It's just I don't believe I'm renewing it at a rate that I think I'm losing petroleum over time. I have this leaky oil fissure. I have an oil reserve that I haven't tapped into yet. And I have a bunch of slicksters producing oil and petroleum. And so I really want to save this buffer of petroleum that I have here. And somehow the polluted water has leaked into it from over here. Some buggy stuff's going on over here. I don't know what. This stuff's like seeping through the airflow tiles. Maybe it's too high pressure, I don't know. Anyway, the mouse wheels actually are set for 20%, but if I have natural gas, I actually don't want them to run at all. So what I have set up here is just something that detects if I have natural gas in the pipe right here. If there's natural gas in this tile right here, I forgot I need to do automation. Then if there's natural gas in there for 20 seconds, so if it's backfilling up, then what happens is it turns these power shutoffs off, and that actually disconnects these mouse wheels from the grid, making the duplicate stop running. They won't actually prioritize those when they're off the grid. There's nothing to run and charge, so they don't run on them. So if I have natural gas, it's getting used first. It's coming from a geyser. It's unlimited, so I might as well be using it. Where the crude oil is coming from a geyser, sure, but not at the rate I think that I'm consuming it. Um, I like this setup here. I like having a nice buffer where I dump my petroleum in one side and then pump it out the other. Uh, just because there's so much oil to chug through, I really want to get through the oil that I have. But one issue that's happened here uh, fairly recently is obviously you're seeing petroleum leaking through like this, which kind of sucks big time. Don't know why this petroleum has leaked through at all. But also, this tile right here broke earlier, and for some reason, some phosphorus snuck in from my garbage area, and basically started just dumping out my petroleum all onto here and then all down here. And all this petroleum right here used to be in that tank, and it's not anymore. A good chunk of this is. I have some molten slicksters pooping onto this though. Oh, I have steam destroying everything down here. Great. Not sure how that got through. The base is falling apart though. After 2200 cycles, stuff falls apart. So that covers power, food, and oxygen. Quality of life stuff. Next up, I'll just show off some of the operations that I've worked on. The one thing that I have going right now is this Slickster farm. Ranching, I completely hate ranching because it's not automatable. And so I have to come down here and click buttons, which I really don't want to do. I want to be able to have a colony where I can let it run overnight. If it's good enough, it should be able to run overnight, and I shouldn't have to watch it. That's at least what I want from this game, but obviously they're not quite there yet. And hopefully they want that too. Hopefully Clay Entertainment wants that. Another project of mine is over here. Oh, this copper's finally settling down. That's good. This is my huge storage area. Massive amounts of storage. I just was fed up with the lack of storage that I had, and so I started doing that. Oh, I should talk about how I cooled this water. That's a pretty important part. That's very important. Okay, so this water is actually being dumped in from my main line. I have just a single main line running through my base. I have one filter, so all fresh, clean, cold water gets dumped onto the same pipe. And then it goes through this main pipe right here, and it goes through this filter. Fresh water goes this way, polluted water and everything else goes down to a sieve, and then right back up into this clean tank. I have this one sieve dedicated to fresh water without germs, and this sieve is dedicated to germy water. Right, there's a bunch of germs in this bathroom toilet water. So my main water line is actually my geysers and my my geyser and my cool steam vents are all pumping liquid into this kind of setup right here. We'll take a look at this one. This is the anti-entropy thermonullifier. I have hydrogen production completely dedicated to 3 of these things. This hydrogen production right here is dedicated to 2 of the nullifiers. One up here and the one down that we were just looking at. I basically snake a pipe up here to dump some hydrogen into the atmosphere up here. And I let it seep out actually, because I found that that actually helps cool it a little bit better. I surround this with metal tiles. I snake hot liquid through this, so basically the stuff's coming in around 80 degrees typically. Snaked it all the way around, and basically what I do is I have a liquid shutoff and a temperature threshold monitor that once it hits 40 degrees in this case, it's going to dump the water for 75 seconds or 750 kilograms of water. It's going to run basically all of this out of the pipes and bring in the next batch of water to cool. I like this a lot better than the Thermo Aqua Tuner because of the lack of um, power required. The power for this right here is just these four, right? So 480, 5, 6, 7, 20, 8, 9, 60, 960 watts. And it's also pumping a bunch of oxygen. This is a lot of oxygen going to my two my southern what do you call these things? Southern exosuit exit and my east exosuit exit. All right, come on. So I have 3 of these anti-entropy things set up, and they're getting water from all over the place. The third one is all the way up here, actually. This is getting its own... this one was a little bit different. I had to work around some broken tiles here. And it's only dumping out, what, like 40 seconds? 55? So 55, 550 kilograms. It's getting its own hydrogen production from right here. I have this set up to run basically all the time in a wheeze wort to try to keep its temperature down a little bit. Yeah, but that's how I cool the water. They each dump their liquid every so often. We'll try to catch one in the act here. One's nowhere near. This one's pretty close. One thing that happens though is I let a lot of steam out of this cool steam vent because it's just stagnant in here. And that steam, it was at 300 kilograms of pressure, so it was very dense. That basically flooded this whole area over here. Hey, thank you for the follow, Psycho Nata. The steam basically flooded the entire area and caused a lot of heat to actually head down south here, causing this to actually not be able to cool as quickly. And a lot of heat has actually come up this way as well. It hasn't quite reached this. I think this one's cooling fine. But steam is actually coming up from here too. So by letting out this steam, I've actually slowed my cool water production down quite a bit. And so I might need to adjust the temperatures to maintain. This amount of water though will last me many cycles. But we should be coming close, 40.4. So it's only dropped 0.6 degrees in that whole time that I discussed the steam. Not very efficient. But for 11 duplicants, it gets the job done. I'm actually gonna close these doors up here to trap this steam in again. Moving along, I have a water geyser. This thing spits out a ton of water. I mean, it's constantly filling itself back up. And so it is powering one of my entropy systems by itself. And it's also sending 1,300 grams of water per second down to this cool steam vents area. Oh, 300 grams are going there, and 1,000 grams per second are going into this. But we're still losing water in here. I think this stuff is converting to steam as it's coming out of the pipe. And so I need to do this basically. Abyssalite. I think I need to do something like this. To dump the water directly in. That might solve that problem. We'll see. Okay, next up, I have just a ton of... I had a huge problem with space. My initial attempt at space is this large space ladder I have right down this center here. I dug that up all the way up to there, and then I built a tile floor and started building walls up and digging out all the granite and regolith out here. This is over top of a cold biome. You can see the cold biome's outline right here. It's like a diamond shape. And basically what happened is I didn't realize you need bunker tiles, and meteors just came through and completely obliterated about a chasm this big. Just destroyed everything. This entropy machine at one point was completely covered in regolith. These tiles were broken, and somehow I was able to fix them. I don't even know how. Like, I was just trying to plant tiles underneath of them, basically. Because this thing was off of... It was, it had no ground, or whatever that symbol is. So, as you can see, I have become a huge fan of bunker tiles, and have put a insulated tile buffer between everything to try to keep all this heat out. But obviously, it was far too late for me to get all the heat out. I totally will never do that again. And I actually learned my lesson and was able to successfully dig into space, and I will show you what that looks like now. So this is my solar panel setup. Okay, the solar panel setup is my pride and joy. Basically what I did was I came up here on a ladder and I built the bunker tiles. I actually built them like down here, below the last abyssalite chain and below the granite. And then I built a few doors. Well, actually the doors came later, but I built the glass, 3 layers thick. I built a bunch of insulated tiles to try to keep heat out. And once I was satisfied, I actually dug out all of the regolith. Excuse me. And so how this system works today is I have 3 solar panels down here. Right, they're getting light, quite a bit of it, and I have 1 meteor scanner. and 5, 6 bunker doors up here. I also have a bunch of mechanized airlocks that you'll see right here. So, how this system works is I was getting sick of meteors smashing into my bunker door and causing physical regolith to build up. This stuff, not this stuff. So I'll refer to regolith as this instead of the ones that you can sweep. It was just building up the stuff that was then blocking the light and making my solar panels useless. So I had to keep telling duplicants to dig. Oh, come up here and dig out this crap. Well, I got sick of that, and I found an exploit where doors crush sand that falls into them. So if you have sand and it falls down into an open door, and then the door closes, that sand gets destroyed. And then you can open up the door, and you'll have light again. So you'll actually see this whole process in action. I'll explain the automation while this meteor shower is going on, but basically this thing has turned on, and it's knotted to an AND gate, but don't worry about the AND gate, just consider this as knotted. And it's turned this automation grid off, and that has actually closed down this guy right here. I also have a filter gate right here and a NOT gate right here. This NOT gate right here turns on a wire that stops this clock from running. This is a binary repeater clock, right? This is just something that turns on and off, on and off. Every 30 seconds it turns on, and then it's off for 30 seconds, back on for 30 seconds. So, how this system works is these doors close right away, and that's a very important step because sometimes the meteor shower gets detected too late, and the bunker doors start to close, but a meteor can slip through, and the mechanized airlocks immediately close, and so they will actually take the impact for the instead of the glass taking the impact. Basically, I would rather have my door destroyed than my glass, right? Because my main goal, I should say, is prevent any more heat from coming down. Okay, that is the main goal of this setup, is you must prevent heat from coming down. And even over here I have heat building up for some reason. I need to look into that, like isolate this whole layer right here. But anyway, the meteors strike here. This is 4 tiles high for a very specific reason, and it's so that if a meteor does come in here, it will pile up regolith here, but if this was any lower, the bunker tiles were any lower, the meteor would hit as they're closing, the regolith would pile up, and as it's closing, it actually will break the bunker door. Hey, what's up, John? Thanks for watching. Welcome to the house. So the gates, I'm sorry, the clock is running on, off, on, off. And basically, it's connected to an AND gate. And so it's able to turn the door on because that AND gate is connected to an OR gate, right? So if this ever turns on, the doors are going to open. If it ever turns off, the doors are going to close. I have a filter gate here. So when the meteor shower stops, this wire goes green, and immediately these bunker doors start opening. 61 seconds later, I will have a green wire here and this will go green, completing this AND gate, sending a green signal up here, and allowing these doors to open exactly at 61 seconds, basically. So the airlocks open. Now all the regolith falls down, and then 30 seconds later, this wire right here turns off, turning this AND gate off, turning this OR gate off, and the doors close. 30 seconds later, this turns on, the doors open, and that will actually happen forever. That chomping motion will happen every 30 seconds forever. So I have one more filter gate set up for 145 seconds. And so after 145 seconds, it locks this OR gate into the on position, basically. So let's let this run, and we'll see this all happen in real time. Once again, this is 8 tiles high because I've seen meteors stack up to 8 tiles. It's not 100% foolproof because a meteor could strike in here, have 4 tiles high, and then up here an 8 tiles high, and it would overflow. But okay, so we have our doors open. This clock is running right here. See, it's turned on. It's turned off. It's going to turn on again here. But it can't do anything until this filter gate actually turns on. That gives these doors enough time to open and the regolith enough time to fall down. But as soon as this filter right here turns on, we're going to see that's turned on, and now the filter turns on. So we have this okay to open the doors. The doors open. The regolith falls in. This clock is about to go dark. It goes dark. This AND gate turns off. The OR gate's off. The doors close. It's going to go through that cycle again. But this time, we're going to open. And now 30 seconds later, we would close, but we actually lock it into place right here. And you'll see that happen right now. Boom. We're locked into place. How's your huge science brain doing? Sam, did I tell you that you died at one point? Because you definitely died at one point. But you are definitely one of my seasoned vets at this point. What I've learned, Sam, is that you can complete a job to 100%, and that job sticks with you forever. You don't need to do that job anymore because you can do that job then whenever. So it's not necessarily good to have you just be the tenured scientist, but actually once you become the tenured scientist, you should move on to everything else. So you are actually trained in literally all of the greatest things. You're a seasoned miner, senior architect, exosuit engineer, mechatronics engineer, electrical engineer, tenured scientist, you're a plumber, and now you're working on, you've done your rancher as well. No, John, you are still the chef. You are my only chef, and yeah. Sam killed himself somehow. It's still a mystery to me. He basically trapped himself up in this attic right here because I sealed it off at one point, and I didn't catch it in time. I went to the restroom and came back, and he was just suffocated. But yeah, I was just giving a review of my base, giving a walkthrough because some people on Reddit had asked for it. A person on Reddit had asked for it, not some, just one. But yeah. Too many of your Frankenstein jobs, yeah. So moving on, these solar panels, uh, I don't ever recommend using solar. It really kind of sucks. It's a total waste of time, but it's cool. It's a cool renewable way. I guess if you're able to make an enormous chain of these solar panels, then it would be worth it. But I don't see how that's possible. Um, each solar panel basically has to support uh, two of these doors, and then they all have to support the meteor shower scanner. So I don't know if it's worth it. How I have it set up though is uh, all of this power um, always is available for the doors and this meteor shower scanner. This grid goes down to my array of batteries and my abandoned fertilizer power plant. Don't mind this. Ignore the thing on the right. But basically how this works is those solar panels will fill up this smart battery and these batteries to a certain degree. And then this smart battery, once it hits 90%, it will let the two other grids that I have in my base siphon off some of the power. So right there you just saw momentarily some of the power was getting siphoned off into this base. It's able to siphon right now, but these things are connected to AND gates, and these AND gates are basically the main batteries that I have saying, hey, yeah, we do need power back at the base. So these things, basically, I very seldomly siphon from these, but the goal is actually when this gets to 50%, I want to shut off all siphoning. All that battery reserve must be saved in case I need to close my my doors. I have to be able to close those bunker doors, or else bad things will happen. So I have to have enough power to make sure those at least close, at the very least close. Otherwise, meteors can come in. And I mean, I don't think they would get an entire meteor shower would not chew through this many doors in one shower. But I mean, it could happen such that it breaks through all these doors and this glass, and then I have Regolith down here. It would completely destroy my operation down here. So that is pretty much it. I have a calendar. This thing's pretty simple. Where's my automation tab? So each day, this thing counts up one. It's an 3-bit counter, so it goes from 0 to 7 in binary. 0 to 7 base 10, but in binary. What we have right now is 110, which is 6 in binary. It's the equivalent of 6. And so you can do cool things with this, like maybe turn your cooking stations off 7 or 1 out of 8 days, right? It's considerably an 8-day week. So the day just happened. We've counted up one more time here. So it's like the last day of the week, essentially. If we move this into place, you'll see it reset back to 0, 0, 0. So that'll happen here real quick. 0, 0, 0. Good to go. I have it set for the very beginning of the day. How this works is I have 3 memory latches. Actually, you only need to learn one of these to fully understand it. the memory latch gets toggled. The first memory latch gets toggled when the clock goes high. Okay, and then it has a buffer. I'm sorry, a filter. So 5 seconds later, it will turn on its input to the AND gate. When that happens, by that time, this is only 3 seconds, so this has turned off right here, and so this is locked into the on position. Let me show you that now, actually. It's locked into this position. Okay? Now, when this trigger happens again, what's going to happen is this AND gate is going to go live. Okay? The AND gate is going to trigger this memory toggle, and it's also going to trigger this buffer, which is set for 10 seconds. And the buffer is connected to the reset of the memory latch. So the memory latch is actually going to turn off over here. Here, we'll see this happen, and I'll try to pause it in time so we can see all the active workings. Okay, so that's really quick, but basically this turned on. Turning this AND gate on just briefly, just for a split second, this AND gate turns on, but it activates this buffer to stay on for 10 seconds. Okay, so it's holding this memory latch in the reset position. Okay. This AND gate turned on just for a split second, like I said, and it triggered this memory latch over here. And now this AND gate will have a live input in a few seconds. Now, once again, if I trigger it, this AND gate will go through its process. Okay. Boom. And the logic behind this is, if this is on and we get a clock trigger, then this one should turn on no matter what. And the other feature is, if this is on and this is on and we get a clock trigger, this one should turn on. And these both should turn off. So if you think about how this really works, is this turns on and off every other cycle. This is off, off, on, and then it's like off, 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 on, on. Kind of. I think I'm off by one there, but yeah, that's Boolean logic there. I think I went a little bit too deep into that. Oh yeah, chlorine geyser for slime. Really nice way to kill slime lung. Although I have literally never had a problem with slime lung. I mean, I dig carefully, I dig slowly. I don't let my dupes just go wild with slime lung. Hey, I can finally harvest all of this copper. That was liquid for 1,000 cycles probably. I guess letting this steam out did have one benefit. This is finally going up. I think that was turning to steam earlier. Petroleum still doing goofy stuff, and this thing's breaking. I have no idea where this is coming from. Yeah, let's just deconstruct you for now. Mop that stuff up. Too much liquid, of course. There's for sure petroleum in there. Look at that. Ridiculous. Slickster Farm is so annoying. 4 plus 7, 8, 9, 13. I need 13. I have 13 open spots. I'll incubate 3 things and slay the rest. There we go. Yeah, so I will clip this, send it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. But yeah, that's basically all there is to my base. I'm super close to having a full bunker